From the studios of Foxborough Cable Access, located in the center of Foxborough, Massachusetts, you are watching Around Foxborough.
Hello and welcome to Around Foxborough, the show where we learn about the people, places, and things that make Foxborough the gem of Norfolk County. My name is Marc Rivard, and I'm pleased to have as my guest today, Maria Doreste Velazquez. Hope I did justice to that, Maria.
Thank you so much, Mark. Yes. Maria Doreste Velazquez. Yeah.
So you say it much better than I do.
It's the accent, that's all.
That is key. That is key. So talk a little bit about, so you're with the Berkeley Institute for the Arts and Special Education. So tell us a little bit about that, what you do.
Yeah, so I've been there. The institute with Berkeley has been on for 2 years since the merge with the Boston Conservatory. But before that, we had another program that ran for the last 10 years. And it started as a program for kids in the autism spectrum only, music teaching. We teach piano in my case, early childhood now. We have ensembles, we have a rock band, we have a choir. We've been growing and growing. It's been very, very neat. And it's the first program of this kind in the States under the supervision of Dr. Bernard. She is the founder and the person that started this whole thing. And it's been my pleasure. I've been there for 8 years and I have a bunch of private students. Again, I teach piano. And, now it's everything a little different because we connect through Zoom. We are remote, but it's an experience that have changed many, many lives.
Well, that's awesome. How is it with the kids on Zoom? Because you're working with special needs and special education students, so it must be a little bit more difficult than being in there in person, I would think.
It was the transition. Yeah, absolutely. The transition was very hard, to be honest. Once we had to lock down and I went to work on a Saturday, and the day after, the whole city was absolutely closed. So it was something that we were expecting somehow, but we did not know the impact and how much transition it will take. Right now, after 6 months, things have been more stable, and more of my students, what we've been doing is creating routines that they feel really comfortable with. There's something nice about the technology though, and these students, they like it. And some of the impairments that they usually have, they get to play around and be able to communicate better or to use the technology in ways that I can. So they help me, right? It goes both ways. It's very neat. So the routines, we did change in a bunch of cases when the lessons used to be like an hour and we will sit down for an hour and play in person. That's harder to do online, and to focus for an hour on the Zoom, it's very tough. So what we've done is, for example, I created 2 different dates a week. So I see them twice, which in some cases is even better because they get the reinforcement and they get to see me and to create and establish those routines very, very neatly. Then I'm really happy to have the families that I have. I feel that without them, it won't be the same. And the families have been very involved in their students' learning and really trying to help through this transition and being able to facilitate the best experience that we can give at this point.
Yeah, you definitely need the family's involvement. So are there different levels for the different students? Because I know, there are different levels, obviously, to special education and certain, autism spectrums. Is there certain different levels involved in the training?
Well, so what I like to say is once you've teach one student in the spectrum, you've taught one student in the spectrum. That's it. Because every child is different and every child has its needs, and you cannot create levels, right? You need to understand your student and you need to create that link with them. And it's important to be able to understand what are their abilities instead of their disabilities, right? What are they really good at? What are they really like? What are the challenges? What get them excited? And then play around that, no? So I use a timer all the time for some of my students that like the challenge. And I say, we're gonna do 2 minutes with this piece. Let's see how you can do. And they thrive with that little, prop. Or I have the camera and I able able to share my fingers in other cases. I can make tutorials and videos so they can. So every student is a little different. I think the important thing is to get to know them and how create that link with them, that even if you are remote, you are still you. No, they still recognize you and they still react to your jokes or to your,
Yeah, and it's I assume obviously they really get into it. They really love music. Music reaches everyone, but I'm sure that, when it comes to learning on Zoom, I know a lot of parents who have kids in school, they're saying, well, it's not the same, they're distracted or whatever, but music, it's kind of hard to be distracted from it because you're playing it, you're into it, it's there, you're part of it.
Yeah, you don't have a choice. That's what I like to tell my students. You really don't. So, even with their cameras off at the school it's hard sometimes because, they don't like the backgrounds. They don't like where they are. It's the social and emotional component of this pandemic has been terrifying for some of my kids. But they put the cameras up and they hide and they show me their thumbs. We have a whole game where they don't have to show their faces, and that makes them feel good. Another thing that we've been doing lately is using our fingers and show how upset or like expressions, and then clapping and playing together. That's what they miss. They miss playing together, being in a community and being able to share. And I don't know how many times they say, Missy, wait a minute. And they run to the kitchen and grab something to show, or that they really care. And they have that opportunity now to open their houses, but at the same time, it's a very private situation. So it's tricky balance.
Well, it's more personalized. It's more fun. Because you have to make it fun. You have to keep it entertaining, and they like that, and it keeps them coming back.
They do.
That is so nice. That is great. And you've gotten, you had a couple of grants that came through recently. You want to talk about those?
Oh, sure. So I teach in Boston Public Schools as well. I'm a music teacher in Brighton. The school that I work with, we have 60 different countries. Our students and families come from these 16 different countries and speak over 20 different languages in the building. We are a very rich and diverse community with a lot of, 83% of qualified for subsidized lunch. We have 43% of English learners. It's a very, very diverse community. And I absolutely love it, but there are many needs. So something that I've done during the last 6 years that I've been working there is to build a program that has high quality and it really provides what our kids need. And sometimes, most of the time, it includes money, right?
Right.
And economical support. So one of the grants that we started thinking is with this population that we have, we cannot teach the way that we've been doing for many years. We really need to look at them. What are the realities? What are the cultural backgrounds, and bring their cultures on the table? Because unless we recognize who's in front of us, we are missing the point of education. We really need to understand who are we teaching and where do they come from and what do they like, and build from there, right? Mm-hmm. So the first grant that we got is from the Child's View, and it's $25,000.
Nice.
So we are building a curriculum that is culturally responsive and that represents the cultures through ethnomusicology studies and connections with their original backgrounds. So for example, next week, right before the Thanksgiving break, we're having invited a group from Taiwan. It's a mix. Taiwan, the north part of Spain, where I come from, and then Santo Domingo. And this group is going to come into our big Zoom. We have 300 kids together, and they're going to be performing, introducing their instruments, just getting to connect with their music through Zoom, which we've never had this opportunity before, right?
Right.
The idea was to bring the community members, and it suddenly opened to the world. It's some things on the pandemic are good. I have to say that this is an opportunity that I will never have thought before. And now we have this. So that's one. And then the Lam Foundation, which he is a very famous pianist, I'm sure you know. He gave us a piano lab last year at the beginning of September.
Wow.
So we have now a beautiful piano lab with 26 pianos, keyboards for all the students to play. And it doesn't stop there, because you say, well, beautiful, but now it's closed. Right?
Thank you, COVID-19.
Yeah, but in the middle of this, what I spend my summer on is to connecting with the community and going around and getting new funding. And we have 50 students with keyboards at home on 2nd and 3rd grade playing on the piano lab remotely right now. Together with how many volunteers? 15 volunteers from Boston College, Boston University, Berklee College of Music, and New England Conservatory that come weekly, and these students get 30 minutes of piano lab, playing with another group of 7, 8 students all together, and just learning how we can. It's a new way, but it is possible, and they make it possible. They dream high, and that makes me the wings to keep on dreaming as well.
Yeah, that is tremendous. I mean, in a time like this, with all the hardships that everybody's going through as far as learning, having to learn online, it actually, in a sense, is helping you reach more people internationally, but also to have all these volunteers helping you. That's incredible. And a brand new piano lab. Well, eventually you're going to get to use it. So it's there.
Did use it. We did use it last year, and we'll use it whenever the building is open back.
Yeah.
I created the plan. Everything is labeled 6 feet away. We made sure that we had the A team and the B team for 2 days a week. So yes. Whenever we are ready to open, which may be very soon, the piano lab will be ready for them. Absolutely.
And plenty of hand sanitizer and all that fun stuff that we love so well. We love it so much, don't we?
Well, but the kids learn. The kids learn through it, and they do become familiar. And those are also new routines that they get accustomed to much better than the grown-ups sometimes.
Yeah, I think more so than the grown-ups, because we're
because we're animals that like.
Yeah, we have our own way of doing things, and this is, I totally get it. So tell us a little bit about, also with the Boston Symphony Orchestra, you're on the Educators Advisory Council. So what's that all about?
Yeah, so the BSO, it's one of the most important, orchestras in the United States and in the world. And they have this program that connects with the community as well. And I'm part of the educational team. So what I do is I build the lesson plans that go with the concerts that they offer, usually in March. This year, we just got the news that we are doing it again, even through COVID. We're going to have our concerts in March. It's going to be online, of course, but the orchestra will be there, and the repertoire is fantastic. It's going to come out very shortly, and it's connecting the community again and really building those bridges. But the idea is, when I thought I couldn't do it, then we did it. I think that's exactly the title. But the idea of going beyond a pandemic and really connecting through music and being able to build. So what I do is I'm the responsible of one of the pieces in the repertoire, and I build an educational component to it. So it may be musical accompaniment that the kids then learn in their classroom, and then when they watch the concert, they understand the music better and they connect through music better. So we are a small team, and it is a pleasure to really work with the Boston Symphony. It's one of the privileges that I had through the last 3 or 4 years, and it's wonderful to make it possible, even in this time.
Yeah, well, I mean, once again, it's not the same as being there live, but you're going to have a bigger audience that's going to get more attention to what you're doing. So I think that's great too, and something that's going to be preserved that people can go online and see, and to show future students. I mean, that's great.
Yeah, we don't have the limit of 2 buses anymore.
No. As long as everybody has Wi-Fi, we're good.
Yeah. We're working really hard on that part, and we really try.
Oh, and also I noticed. Tell us a little bit about diverse music learners.
Okay, so the last 2 years I work, I got it's not a grant, it's a fellowship through Berkeley with the Massachusetts Council for the Arts. And I got to meet many educators and musicians and great artists in the city. We were selected to participate in this cohort for 2 years. And then understand what could we do for the community to provide a better quality music experience or music education and experience around the art for our youth. And what I have been working for years was this special need population, correct? And the more I work with them and the more I talk to other educators and to musicians around and humans in general, it's it's that we have a lot of people that are very diverse, and sometimes the labels are not enough. So that's where this idea of diverse music learners instead of special needs, take off the labels, just look at each of us and see how we learn and what do we really need in order to success. So a group of educators, musicians from around the Massachusetts area, 5 of us got together and got to build a website. It's called Diverse Music Learners, and it's based on a survey that we sent to many, many musicians and educators around the whole country. The idea was, what do you need? What do you encounter with? What are the needs of what do your students need from you that you are not providing? And how can we help each other to build a website, in this case, a bank of resources, tools that can help us all? Because at the end of the day, we're all working and we all care and we all want to provide something meaningful for our students, but sometimes the resources are not one click away, right? We have to keep on doing trainings, and it's important. It's important to go and explore and find your own ways. But having a platform that allows you to communicate and to build with others, I think it's something very unique and something that I'm really proud of being part of. So Diverse Music Learners is live, is there. We presented on the Massachusetts Music Educator Conference last year, and we will be presenting this year again this project, so we get to open it to as many people as we can, because we feel that at the end of the day, if the teachers have the tools, then the students will be better served.
Absolutely. So for any of these programs, do you take donations as far as not just monetary, but instruments? Because there's always people that are looking to get rid of their instruments and looking for a worthy place to donate it to. I figured this would be great.
Oh, wow, Mark, I didn't even think about that. Yes, absolutely. Our instrumental program served in the school 110 kids from 4th grade to 8th grade, and we absolutely get donations. There's one association that has been helping us a lot, which is Instrumental Angels. So through them, it will be a very good way to go, because they collect the instruments, they repair with a partnership with Berkeley, and then they get it out back in the community to whoever needed. And from us, I just got donated a keyboard yesterday and a banjo.
Wow.
Yeah. They contacted me and said, Maria, I think this may be interesting. I don't know who will be interested on a banjo, but I know about your culturally responsive project, and would you like? And I'm like, yes, please.
We'll take it. Send more.
We'll take it. Absolutely. So thank you, Mark. Yes, we will. It goes from hand to hand. It goes to the kid's hand immediately. Yeah.
That is great. And, I have to tell everybody that, my set in the background is my house. People see this all the time, every time I record, but they've seen your background before too, because believe it or not, if it does look familiar, it's because Maria's husband, Manuel Garcia Barro, was my guest in July. And as soon as Maria came on, I said, boy, that looks familiar. I see the keyboard there and I see the microphone there. I said, but I always thought I had a lot of music in my house because I'm a huge music collector, but I'm sure there's a lot of music being played in that house on a daily basis.
On a daily basis. Tell my neighbors, they my downstairs neighbors.
Now, do your kids play too? Are they?
Yeah. So I'm expecting the 4th right now.
Congratulations.
almost 38 weeks. I'm counting, getting to the end. My oldest played the flute. She's 9. She just turned 9. Miguel started playing piano. He's 6 a few months ago, which is my main instrument. I'm a pianist as well as Manuel. And then, the 2-year-old will see. And this one has been, I tell my students, they are very privileged to have them singing and them making music around because they get to learn from my students. It's a very interesting experience for a non-born yet to share all this music all around. Yes, I agree.
So is the newest edition going to be a drummer after all those kids?
I think for the marimba. Yes. That's been my whole summer. I just finished at 7 p.m. My marimba lesson. I'm playing. Part of the grant that we got for cultural responsive teaching is for 15 marimbas that are being built right now. So I need to get really good before I teach. And every Monday night I get to play with a group up in New Hampshire and all around the East Coast. It's very fun.
That is so cool. Well, Maria, thank you very much for joining us. And, we will be, when we show this, we will have all the website information where they can find all more information about all these great programs that you're involved in. I'm so happy to have you tonight. That was great.
Thank you so much, Marc, for your kindness and for inviting me.
Right. Thank you. And that'll do it for Around Foxborough. Have yourself a great day.